Hello, world. Welcome, everybody, to our AR26 Agents in Robotics HackXelerator pre-event. What we want to do is a little bit of a briefing to give you guys a heads up for what is planned and also offer a chance to do Q&A. Myself, I'm George Heiter, one of the founders of KXSB. And I'm joined today by two colleagues, Paul Dowling, who is another co-founder. Do we have Paul?
Hi, everybody.
Okay, we can hear Paul, we can see Paul. Wonderful. And I also got Olena Yara on the call today. She's there? Okay, hi, Olena. Wonderful. It's a little bit of a miracle for us. We're all in different locations. So I'm in Philadelphia in the US. Paul is in London, and Olena is in Paris. So shows the global nature of KXSB. So let's get started. Paul and I are going to play ping pong a little bit with different topics. Olena is going to keep an eye on both the Discord and the YouTube chats. So feel free to comment and ask questions as we go through it. We will get back to all these at the end of our segment. So let me talk a little bit about KXSB. KXSB was founded in 2024 by myself, Paul, and Les Mara, and is set up as a UK not-for-profit community interest company. But we pretty much have a global mission, building a global AI innovation community. We have circa 2,500 members at the moment and work with over 20 different technology partners. What we do is we look to increase engagement and access for AI builders, be that helping newcomers getting started or, help, emerging and established projects with guidance and connections. Back, almost 2 years ago when we were discussing the formation of KXSB and the possibilities that AI would offer to empower many of us to build our own things in our own way, rather than just being beholden to, off-the-shelf big tech solutions. We actually had no idea how quickly all this would progress. Especially this year has been absolutely crazy. So I think our agents in robotics topic, even though we already planned this last year, is bang on the money of where we are. So in terms of our track record, last year was really our inaugural year. We ran a London, Paris, Berlin HackXelerator, which was the first format of this kind of initiative. We had well over 30 projects that got submitted. We had over 15 in-person events across London, Paris, and Berlin last year, and pretty much put our HackXelerator format on the map. Basically, what we want to do is not just weekend builds, quick in and out, but we want to allow people globally to connect and build together, ship real solutions, and provide sufficient mentorship and enablement around that. Another thing that we've begun this year is that many of our members asked us, if we could help them with getting engaged with opportunities, both in terms of employment or funding. And we've launched the AI Talent Exchange, which is basically, to those who want, introduce them to employers who are looking for talent at the moment. Let's now go and talk a little bit more about AR26. I'm going to hand over to Paul and give us a little bit of an intro of the logistics and schedule and locations.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, George. As George says, we're always very ambitious with our HackXellerators. And as he mentioned, last year we covered London, Paris, and Berlin. And we also we had it in real life and online. And so in the similar vein, we're doing that this year. And at the moment, you're listening to the briefing session. But on the 27th of March, we have our first in real life event, which is over at the former Olympic Park in East London. So absolutely amazing facilities, huge, great. It was a former media centre, fantastic facilities over there. Really encourage you to come over in real life if you possibly can. In fact, to promote that, we're going to have a spicy hardware raffle, which will be open to anybody who actually comes to the in real life event. But I also want to stress that this is entirely a hybrid model, so you can be competing entirely online. We're going to have all the events live streamed with recordings for of all the workshops or anything like that, and also the YouTube channel. So we, as I mentioned, we start in London on the 27th of March. We have another in real life event towards the end, well, at the end of the initiative in Berlin. We're going back to PT1, which was the same location we were at last year, which is absolutely amazing location in Kreuzberg in Berlin. Very, very cool. Some people did the whole stint, so they started with us in London and were still with us in Berlin. We don't expect everybody to do that, but anybody who really wants to do that would be very welcome to do so. I should also mention that the project, whilst the initiative is being launched now, and at the launch event, the project deadline will be April the 10th, so that we've got some time to look at the results, have a judging panel, and be ready for the conclusion on the 17th of April. So I think that's about everything I need to say at the moment. I'll be back shortly, but I'll hand back to George at the moment to discuss the 4 missions that make up the HackXelerator.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. So this is really about being on the frontier, working in the box, working outside of the box, and beyond into the conceptual. So, how do we use AI to affect the real world? We want to have a accelerator that blurs the line from the purely digital execution of agent networks to the physical integration of acting in the real world using sensors, robots, drones, and other hardware, to the conceptual of, where will this all take us as society, as humanity? So there's 4 missions, we call them. Basically, when you create a project in AR26, you can tag it to one of these 4 missions, and your project should ideally be connected to the spirit of that mission. Right? The first mission is the in-the-box stuff. It's digital agents, multi-agent systems. So this is the hot area at the moment, like all the OpenClaw and Maltbook and all the derivatives of this, and beyond, building LLM assistants, agent orchestration, collaborative AI, and autonomous workflows. The second mission goes more into touching the real world through autonomous systems and embodied AI. Here we look at drones, robots, real-world navigation, perception, action loops, and simulation to real, right? And so, again, there's many ways to build in this fashion, right? Be it, as a pure simulated construct, or be it as actual hardware in the real world. The third mission is human-robot interaction and social robotics, right? So this is looking more at how do the 2 worlds, the AI robotics world and our human world, connect. Emotional AI, assistive applications, therapeutic robotics, or educational context, for example. And then the fourth one, we go more into the conceptual, philosophical around ethics, agency, and societal impact, right? Topics like governance and responsibility, but also, I would like to focus on what is the human role in light of all these technologies, and how should society adapt and transform in light of it? What are longer-reaching implications? All these missions are wide open, and we're quite liberal in how contributions fit under these categories. Basically, so long as you can explain it to us, we're good with it. I'm going to hand back over to Paul now and talk a little bit about who can participate and how.
Thanks, George. Yeah, I guess what I really want to stress is that how democratized this Hackcelerator format is. So don't be put off because you're not technical. I know the streams look technical, but LLMs and the way AI is at the moment, allows people who are pretty well non-technical to participate in this type of thing, and we want to encourage that. So we're really open globally to university students that might be in AI, robotics, and related fields, developers, researchers, technical builders. And you can either join as a team, so multidisciplinary teams that might be hardware, software, particularly in the robotics. And then just people who are, interested in AI, interested in building stuff, AI enthusiasts. The Accelerator is, completely free to participate in, and we will be having, prizes and credits, etc. There is no minimum coding requirement, so you can be using AI assisted tools, no code, whatever. And we have full team formation support via the Discord channels, which we can give you details of. And if you're not already registered, I'm guessing most of you may be, but the main register for this is www.kxsb.org/AR26. Just again, you can attend this in person, hybrid, at one or other of the real life events. And we can also provide some co-working at at Plexel in London if you need somewhere to work. I'm now going to hand back to George.
Hey, okay. So what should you build and how to submit it, right? So my advice to everyone is push the boundaries, be ambitious. Not everything has to work or be completed. We'll consider, every stage of effort. It's sort of, when we get to the judging, sort of how interesting, novel, augmentative is this? What was being considered? The submission requirements are relatively simple. We ask you to, number one, create a project on the KXSB platform that basically needs to have all your team members attached to it, as well as your submitted artifacts, whatever they may be, right? Because something that is not on that project and someone who is not on that project cannot be considered for any awards, right? So we cannot judge stuff that is not connected to a project on the platform. The minimum requirement is a demo video, right? So your video can be a demonstration of your hardware, your software, a presentation of your paper, what have you. But, primarily we look at a video presentation. We look at these to be around the 5-minute mark. It doesn't have to be exactly like that. If it's over or under, doesn't disqualify you, but the target should be getting a 5-minute video done. The reason for this is because it's simply manageable for our judges to consider the videos in full. We will do a best effort to consider additional attached things like GitHub repos or documentation or data sets or prototypes. But the video is sort of the anchor of it all. And simply, depending on how many submissions we get, the deadline is on April 10th. We have the award show on April 17th. We need to go through everything and make up our minds. So, there's a limited amount of time to do that. That's the explanation for that. You can, of course, add as much stuff as you would like. You can publish your projects on the KXSB platform, so you can make them visible to other members or to the public at large. And, of course, this is sort of a linking system. So you can have your videos on YouTube, for example, your code on GitHub, etc. It's all just linked to that project, which is kind of a meta structure of what you have built. In terms of the judging, it's going to be members of our KXSB team together with industry experts for the different missions, and also together with some of our partners that help make these events possible. And we will announce the final list of the judges on our website before the event. Again, to remind you, you can start on this as late as you like, but the submission deadline is going to be midnight GMT, April 10th, 2026. I also want to talk a little bit about support and resources that we're going to make available. So first of all, the portal has two things. So I encourage everyone to sign up on kxsb.org. This is relatively simple. You just need an email address or a Gmail or a LinkedIn or a GitHub account, and you can sign up and have an account. Once you're signed up, there is two additional things to do to optimally participate. Number one, connect your Discord account. If you don't have a Discord account, you can create one for free at discord.com. You can get the Discord chat application if you're not familiar with it. It's basically a chat that has specific areas and has additional functionality that exists specifically in the KXSB context, where you can enter commands and, for example, create your projects and join teams. The other thing that we encourage you to do is functionality which you just added this week, which is to create a builder card. A builder card is basically, your resume in, a very summarized and hopefully entertaining form. So it's basically a little bit like a RPG game where you can go and connect different capabilities into slots, and you can make that card discoverable by others. For example, when you're in Discord, you can use the /card command and give somebody's Discord handle, and if they have their card filled in, you can look at it. So that way, you can learn things about people even before you chat with them, but of course, chat with people, right? Once you have your Discord account and your card, you can also go and join or launch your own projects on Discord, which again works with /commands. Our team is available on Discord to help with that in case you're stuck on anything. So just ping any of the moderators, and we should usually be around to help you on with any difficulties. The other thing that we're going to do is workshops. So during the HackXelerator, we're going to have a few live and also made available via recording after workshops. These are around different technologies, often from partners that we work with. That, for example, make capacity or GPUs or different capabilities available for builders. We will also, thanks to our partner Vultr, make generous GPU and compute credits available for builders during the HackXelerator. As well as Paul already mentioned, our venue partner Plexel will offer co-working space to teams that want to work together in real life at the Plexel facility. And I think the next thing that everybody's waiting to hear more about is the prizes and opportunities, which I'll hand back over to Paul.
Yes, thanks very much. We've got exciting prizes and opportunities. The bit you've all been waiting for. We're going to have cash prizes, minimum 2K per category for the winners, and also £500 for the runner-up. I'll just repeat that. I'm not sure what I said, but 2K per category for the winner and 500 for the runner-up. Also, as George mentioned, we'll have availability of GPU and compute credits from Vultr, platform and API credits from 12 labs, We also give some soft benefits by giving featured placement on the KXSB channels, featuring people, for example, online mentoring and talent exchange visibility. So this really is the idea that recruitment processes are increasingly broken in the AI age, and this is the opportunity really to show that you can build. We've got corporate partners that be looking for people, and we can help facilitate that. We also have we're able to offer travel stipends for the Berlin Showcase finalists as well, so they can join us at that the party we have at the end. We're going to have more news coming up. There's one or two items that are currently embargoed because they're big news, hot news, but we'll be coming out on those at the beginning of next week. And I'm just handing over back to George.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. So hopefully we've addressed most of the things that we wanted to get across, but given that we're always a little bit impromptu, we probably forgot the one or other thing that you guys have questions about. So please, ping us your questions on Discord or on the YouTube chat. And I'll hand over to Olena in a minute to look at what, may have been already queued up there. The thing that I want to give everybody as a takeaway too is that, we're trying to make a difference at KXSB through the HackXelerator format. We want you to have a chance at building lasting global connections, to get real world visibility through hands-on delivery, to connect directly with technology partners, collaborators, and potential employers, and to bridge, to build a bridge between building and opportunity as part of a broader ecosystem. At this point, Olena, do we have any questions queued?
Yeah, I guess we can go again. You answered this already, but let's just do it once again. I would like to know the process of how to form a team.
Yes. So this is really, you can form your team with your friends offline in real life, of course. That's a given. But there is the way to do it on the platform, right? And so to do it on the platform, fill in your builder cards, get on Discord. You can just start chatting with people or, announcing that you look for a certain type of partner. Again, our moderators will also be able to help when, they know of people that have asked us maybe to, look for similar connections. And you can also, if you already have an idea, you can form a project. So there is a / command called /propose. And then you can pick a project and you can basically enter the details about your project. You can select how many people you would like to join you in your project. And then conversely, if you want to see if there is joinable projects already, you can use another / command, which is /projects, and you get a list of the joinable projects. There is sort of another way to browse projects, which is on our portal, where you can just go to the project menu and you can see projects at different stages. But if you would like to join them, the only way to do that is on Discord. So if you do /projects, you get a list. You click on the ones whose names you find interesting. You can read more about them. There's threads connected to projects where you can have discussions, ask questions. And most importantly, there is a join button that you can click, and basically the project owner is being informed that you have applied to join the project, right? It's then up to the project owner to decide if they would like to have you in their project or not. But you can have DMs, you can have conversations in the project thread. So we found that in previous accelerators, this has been a good way for people to connect globally using this method inside of Discord. Hopefully that answers the question. Of course, any other ways that people like to connect, if you reach out on LinkedIn to your connections saying you do the Accelerator and you would like to have partners or any other platform that you're on, all is fair game, right? The Discord is the specific one that we maintain and make available, but pretty much any other way of forming teams is totally okay.
And if you're watching our stream on YouTube, I will share in the chat a link to our website where you can find our Discord as well. We do have another question that goes like, flying to Berlin after in-person London launch event would be fun, but what are the logistics of it? Where should I pre-book the flights and hotels for?
Okay, so the logistics, first of all, the address of where we are at PT1 is on our website. At least I hope it is. Okay, it's on Luma, but we'll make sure that it gets put onto our website today, so you can find it there too. We'll post also on Discord the exact addresses and dates of the in-person events. As far as organizing travel or visas, etc., we're not supporting that, so you're going to have to organize that by yourself. But what we do is what Paul mentioned before. If you are among the finalists of the HackXelerator, we will offer subsidies towards travel to Berlin, right? The details of these subsidies will be announced a little bit later because we have a finite budget for this, and we always need to see, how many people are in a situation where they would like subsidies. So we'll make the exact amounts of the subsidies known during the Accelerator.
And then the final one would be, what are the main criteria for the selection of the teams? And also how many teams in total we would accept to join the
Okay. So there is no limit to the number of teams. We've had 60, 70 different teams apply. Not all teams always finish, but, definitely, we see lots of teams forming. I expect that to be the same this year. There is no limit on the number of teams. Also, I want to stress that you can also be a solo hacker, right? You don't have to work in a team, but of course, teams are making things more interesting in many cases. So we definitely encourage you to form teams. In terms of what should be in a team, this is really depending on which mission you decide to follow and your personal preferences on how you like to work, right? So we've seen in the past really multidisciplinary teams, between hardcore developers, business analysts that joined, and just members of the general public, like civilians, as I call them, that had an interest in AI and heard about this on Luma or Meetup. Some of them had fantastic ideas because they weren't really constrained by, having spent years in the trenches, and led to some really interesting projects. So, I encourage you to have an open mind and, chat with other candidates and form your teams.
And so the final question as well would be, is there any investment expected at the end of the program from your end? If yes, what are the specs of the investment?
Investment, you mean in terms of like venture capital, or
I guess
is
this
the question
is what it implements.
or goodwill, or so for sure. Let me sort of discuss the whole gamut of that then. So, we like to, nothing makes us prouder than have teams that formed during a Accelerator go on and do great stuff, right? Paul, Les, and myself, we've been around this industry for many years. And, as such, maintain a very active network of connections, be that in industry, be that in, capital raising, or be that in, finding employment opportunities, right? And so, we'll make our best effort to help everyone achieve what they're looking to achieve, right? So we can provide ongoing mentorship for projects that want that, and within the possibilities of our capacity. So we cannot do it for 30 projects, but we can do it for a handful, and have been doing so. And we can do introductions to capital where capital is needed and makes sense. Oftentimes, capital is not the first thing that projects need, but it may be the second or the third thing, and so we're happy to help.
Yeah, and then I would like to ask Paul to cover our schedule for London and Berlin events.
Thanks, Alina. Yes, I probably didn't say enough about the in real life in London. I mentioned how fantastic the venue was, but probably didn't tell you enough about, first of all, timings. We are starting from 3 o'clock for a 4 o'clock start. Stratford, it's near Stratford. Stratford is very, very well served by transport, but the place is about 15 minutes walk from Stratford. And there are various means of getting from Stratford to the venue. There's a shuttle bus. You can also go to Hackney Wick Station and just walk. It's just 500 meters or something like that. Or if it's a nice sunny day, I do recommend walking across the Olympic Park to the venue. The event itself, well, we're going to have beers and pizzas, so it's going to be a fun event. And we've got a panel discussion. We're going to have discussion around the various missions and get everybody started hacking, so we'll get off to a good start. So I think I've covered most of the details there. Alina, tell me if I've forgotten anything. Well, in Berlin, I think we've mentioned Berlin. You have to make your own way to Berlin. The venue is in central Berlin. I think the start time is on the website. I can't quite remember what it is. I don't know if you know, Alina, but it's easy to find anyway.
Thank you so much. And then also, you mentioned some workshops given the theme of both robotics and agents. Is there any support getting hardware, asking to start thinking about constraints for ideas?
Yes. So for hardware specifically, there are some announcements next week. As Paul mentioned, we were unfortunately not allowed to talk about it today, but so you're going to have to watch the website. In terms of workshops, and for compute, we're working with Vultr to supply what is needed, and so we have both inference APIs as well as bare metal GPU hardware that can be made available for the projects. And the usual sort of compute and storage and networking requirements that exist. In terms of the workshops, they will be orientated around two things. Number one, the mission topics, and number two, the collaborators of the technology platforms and what they make available, right? Because we find that when we make something available, the sort of scramble up front always is like, where do I get my codes or coupons? How do I need to register? How does this thing even work? How can I use it, etc. So we try to be proactive around that and have specific workshops that, you can attend, ask your questions, or you can rewatch them later if they were at an inopportune time for your time zone or, lifestyle. The other thing I would like to mention that also, again, in Discord, normally, we create a number of threads in the AR26 channel around the different offerings that are there to support people, where you can go and ask these questions and, read previous questions that, others have asked and how they got to answer. Any more?
I guess not for now, but if you have any question, just use the YouTube chat or Discord and let me know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Thank you, team, for running the session. Hopefully it's been useful. And those of you who watch this after the live stream, come to Discord, ask your questions. We will deal with them as good as we can. And hope you have fun creating teams and participating in AR26.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.